And thank you everyone for joining us today. The reason we're having this session is in order to address the challenge that many are facing, which is handling large volumes of data where true positives incidents can be easily missed. Now, the challenge as we see it is that a modern security operations center usually possesses many security solutions that all have their special purposes. EDRs, cloud infrastructures, identity providers, network solutions, and many others all produce logs containing precious details that can all help us out in the moments of truth. The idea behind collecting them is to have visibility and to be able to investigate suspicious events that might occur in our environment. But the downside of having so much of them is the struggle of having to follow up endless alerts that can come with them from each and every one of them and find the most important ones to handle and the most relevant. In most cases, alerts will need to be tuned, and so we can ignore them safely. But in some other cases, a SOC doesn't really have centralized data storage. An analyst needs to pivot between many tools just in order to figure out what happened in a single event. And that actually opens a window for possible incidents that cannot be well cross-correlated, especially when it comes to a human being to do that. When we, in most cases, really trust machines today. So when we are looking forward, we're looking for, well, basically, the nowadays SOC teams are actually looking for something more holistic. It's a more holistic solution that can provide them with both centralizing their data and create smart correlations between these different sources. And that's where Hunters come into place. Hunters SOC Platform is designed to overcome these challenges. Hunters allows its customers to have an unlimited data ingestion that can really help out with centralizing the data sources. And after ingesting, the data goes through Hunters detection engine, which has a very impressive out-of-the-box analytics. Afterwards, all of these signals, whether taken from Hunters analytics or populated as is from the security product as an alert, a dedicated investigation system runs on them and extracts important information that can really assist with assessing the threats. Finally, it helps accurating the team's response and have a better understanding of the threat and the landscape they're facing. Combining all of these together helps us have a rough diagram of Hunter's pipeline. Most signals, as created in the detection phase, Hunters are running the old investigation packs that also generates the signals score that helps prioritizing them. And most importantly, this phase also allows the investigated leads to actually have a common ground, more likely to find a common ground and correlate between them. This is an important step because it really truly gives the SOC another way to approach the signals, as one single lead might not be significant enough, but the context it gives to a bigger event is much more important. And actually, the last element I wanted to address in this diagram is Axon. So Axon, which I'm a member of, is a team. It's a service that is provided to Hunters customers. It's a team of experts with a vast experience in the cybersecurity landscape. And their goal is mainly, as presented here, it's the threat hunting, which is narrowed to more innovative TTPs that are normally hard to detect with standard detection tools. The team also takes an active approach and steps into running investigations of security incidents or suspected activities when they are called to from customers. Axon also known to provide a phone a friend service and providing consultants when needed. Last but not least, it's the rapid response that basically occurs when having a widely spread threat. Axon are very engaged with learning the fundamentals of the threat and helps the customers mitigate it. That includes many cases that we all spotted lately, like Felina, SolarWinds, Log4Shell, Punkit, Kaseya, and more of them. And without further ado, I believe we can jump into our demo now. So now we're looking at the leads page of Hunters SOC Platform. We can see over here many leads signals that were created through the detection engine, and now we can investigate them. Let's open, for instance, the suspicious HTA file execution. Now, if we open it, we're having a grid aggregated in a way that will take it off for now. So we can see all of these events actually occurred in this single agent, but we'll like to explore it maybe in a tabular way for once, but we'll like to dive in to see some more information about specific events that might be more prioritized in a way. Now, that's, by the way, why we have the risk over here that might assist us in understanding what's more malicious and what's not, what needs to be handled first and what's last. So let's start with the first one. If we open it like that, we're having now a drawer. This drawer actually describes more information about it, but also the actual original attributes that were extracted from the raw data. This raw data actually came from CrowdSec raw events. And if we expand it, we can see the raw attributes that were given by this event, such as the parent process name, specific event, a specific source type, which is CrowdStrike, the target process hash, and others. Now, that's not exactly the most interesting thing we can produce from it because it's very raw at this moment. So basically, the investigation pack helps us out figuring out three main questions. We're looking for the who, for the what, and the where. For in this case, we're having the who, which is Anna. Anna is part of Axon Corp, and she seems to be the executor and the local user that is attached with this action. We can learn more about her logon history and much more. Let's put Anna aside for a moment. Let's proceed for the what. The what includes here the CMD, which is the initiating process. We can learn more about the attributes, see some enrichments about it. For example, we can take the hash of the CMD and look for it in virus total, which is in most cases for CMD is pretty clear. We have 0 engines that detect this as something malicious. And we can see more about the activities made from this very CMD, both children and parents that are related to it in the process tree. Since the beginning of the machine, of the power on of the machine, and its child. Now, if you go back into run DLL is the actual target process that we're looking to investigate now, because it basically executed an HTA, by the way, in a very masqueraded way, because the traditional way of executing HTA files is using mshta.exe. It's all been located in system 32. Now, by using the run DLL 32 exe, it's basically a masqueration of how we're later calling the mshtml DLL. Now, it's a sort of a way of attackers to evade detections. Now, with this case, what happens is the threat actor is actually running PowerShell. The actor is, in our case, is Anna. And we can learn more about it by looking into the child process tree. And again, we can see the PowerShell and its command line. Now, we can learn even more about it if we dive into Anna's PC. Well, now that's basically the where, because we can see it occurs in Anna PC. We can see its IP and the agent ID. But also we can see other activities that might be related to her, such as the IP that she was brought in from. It seems like it came out from the US, and it's attached with an ISP of Microsoft coming out from Azure. And more to investigate within it, also as logons made to the machine. Now, we can learn more about it if we actually dive into Anna in the entity search. Now, what we're trying to do is actually learn what happened in our machine, but this is something we can also postpone for now, because I wanted to show you one more thing now. There is an actual story behind this very lead. It seems to have something to do with a bigger image that we are looking to investigate. And if we click on it, we can get ourselves into an actual bigger picture of a threat that occurred in her machine or in other machines. But in this case, we can see several executions related to suspicious file execution extension for a PE file and a CrowdStrike that populated alerts for her machine, same as a suspicious execution from program data and WMI executions and outgoing connections coming out from PowerShell. And there's more and more to investigate. And there is our very HTA execution we've seen before, because they are all attached to a big, or likely a bigger process tree with meaner purposes. Now we'll leave that for now, because we still want to investigate Anna's machine. So as the entity search, we're looking here to have a bigger context of not exactly only what happened in a specific event, such as we've seen in the story before, but also other leads that might be attached to her, not necessarily in the same story, all with a variety of severities between them. Let's put it down for now, because I want to focus more about the story and what we can learn about them. Now, if we go into the stories page over here, we can find some more interesting stuff to analyze. For instance, we can see over here a pretty interesting story that actually occurs on cloud environment. So it starts by having this AWS console login from a host without an ADR agent. Now, what happens over here, we can pretty much see it. We have an AWS identity like Saul Goodman from some company coming out from this source IP. Now, by itself, it's most probably not the most interesting lead we can have in Hunters, because it happens a lot. Okay, many people don't have EDRs today. It's hard to have a full coverage in an environment, and it happens. Now, if we attach it to another case, we've seen a successful AWS console login without an MFA or SAML. It's still not enough, but it gives us more context from something bigger that might come afterwards and explain something we do not understand yet. Now, later, we can see a built-in privilege IAM policy attached. Now, that's something we should deeper investigate now. So we can open it, and we can see we have one lead around it. And what happens over here is actually that Saul Goodman attached the policy of Amazon EC2 full access to what we see as Kim Wexler. Now that's pretty interesting. Actually, Saul gave her the permission to access EC2s in her environment, in the AWS environment. Now, if we go back and see what comes next, it's the actual sharing of EBS snapshot. And that was made by Kim Wexler, thanks to the policy that Saul attached to her. And we can now investigate it, and we can see it comes from Kim Wexler and learn more about her, the statistics of her sessions and what she does, and how is it related to the IP she's coming out from, and more about it, and more about the snapshot. And that's actually a good example of how we can take pretty non-significant leads. Well, we're starting from these non-significant leads, but we create a bigger image and have a better understanding of a much significant case where we can learn from. So what we see over here is the SOC page. It's a page designed for analysts to spend most of their days by clearing the queue of alerts. Alert is something that is classified to be a high prioritized signal that needs to be handled by a human being, let's say. And you can pick and just investigate each and every one of them, assign it by the relevant assignee, its status, and even comment. Now, same as before, you can open it, investigate it, and understand how exactly is it assembled. For instance, in this case, we can see a binary was detected by one AV engine in Vartadol, which led to the increased score. So there is a set of predefined alerts for special detectors that Hunters have. It is adjustable, and basically it's designed, as spoken before, to just be something that the SOC team can handle, clear, and basically same as we spoken before about clearing out also stories. It is a possibility. Certain stories that exceed a certain score should be handled as well, and that's where you can also find them, analyze them, understand them, and more. So that's basically it for today. Thank you all for joining us for this demo. I'm really happy to have you all. See you next time.